It's a shame that Xenoblade Chronicles is coming along right at the end of the Wii's life, because it's exactly the kind of deep, well-crafted, and most importantly, hardcore game that Nintendo's console's been sorely lacking for ages. If the dearth of games has moved you to sell your Wii in the past year or two, though, you might regret that now, as Xenoblade Chronicles is the best Japanese RPG of this generation. Yes, it tells the story of an orphan boy who, for some reason, is the only one that can save his world from a mysterious evil force. And yes, it revolves around an enchanted weapon, and yes, there are a lot of cutscenes, but Xenoblade Chronicles is still an amazingly fresh experience, one that gives us new hope for this beleaguered genre.
Right!
Sadly, it's not the best looking Japanese RPG you'll ever see, although it is a very pretty game. Xenoblade Chronicles pushes the Wii as far as it will go, but you can't help but wonder what it might have looked like on a machine with more power. That said, Xenoblade Chronicles is beautifully crafted. It makes up for its lack of graphical grunt with great artistic direction. Xenoblade Chronicles is set on the body of an ancient robot titan called Bionis, which has stood still for so many eons that nature and civilization have sprung up on its limbs. Whenever you look up to the sky, you see the hulking outline of the robot's form, adorned with trees, greenery or snow. It's a fascinating setting, and it allows for both gorgeous valleys and verdant hills, and mechanical, sci-fi flavoured caves inside the body of the Bionis. Your foes, meanwhile, range from fairly docile wildlife to towering, fantastical creatures, and the mechanical, angular mechon, who are the story's obligatory evil force. The story and character design are both excellent, and a plot that seems pretty predictable at first soon takes unexpected turns.
Is it time to eat already?
There's some super British voice acting, although the absence of Scottish, Welsh and Irish voices means it's hardly a fair representation of our fair isles. Only the big bad guy mechon robots miss the mark. They sound like demented Cockney pirates.
I'm feeling it!
Xenoblade Chronicles has a refreshingly non-linear approach to Japanese RPG conventions. You're free to explore its beautiful world, wandering off the beaten track, picking up side quests and collectibles, and discovering particularly big and nasty monsters to take on. The story does lead you along by the nose in dungeons, where there's a real sense of urgency, but in the open world, you're left mostly to your own devices. The pacing is pretty much perfect. The real jewel in the game's crown, though, is the battle system, which is like a much better version of White Knight Chronicles, crossed with Final Fantasy XII. Characters attack automatically when they're in range. What you have to do is choose the right special moves to unleash at the right times, getting behind enemies for a backstab, or teaming up with your other party members for a 1-2 knockout. The real twist comes from the weapon wielded by our hero Shulk, the Monado. It enables him to see the future, giving you a black and white premonition of a devastating attack. You then have just a few seconds to choose the right moves to prevent it from happening. Outside of battle, Shulk's ability to see the future is a compelling plot device too, as he struggles with his inability to change what is destined or to save the lives of his friends. Most of the annoying, superfluous little things that you expect from a game in this genre are entirely gone. There are no save points, for instance, and when you've completed a quest, you don't have to trek all the way back to the quest giver to complete it. There's even fast travel, and little story memos to remind you what you're supposed to be doing. It strips out unnecessary features whilst adding some more in that make it more of a pleasure to play.
I won't let you hurt any more people. We will save Colony 9!
After the endless corridors of Final Fantasy XIII, the openness of Xenoblade's world is a revelation. It's got a lot of action, and some moments that pack an emotional punch, but none of the pompousness and melodrama of less accomplished Japanese epics. I'd forgotten that JRPGs could be anything other than depressingly linear and heavily overwritten. I'd grown to accept it as a feature of the genre, one we just had to live with. But Xenoblade Chronicles shows us that things don't have to be this way, and that there's still room for innovation in Japanese RPGs.